Good morning. I'm back. That's right, 2 days in a row. Old. I actually have no idea if that means anything whatsoever. But, oh well. I have a feeling you guys don't trust me as much. There's not as many comments as there used to be. Or just people just stopped watching my channel, which I can totally understand. But that throws me off because I've actually we've gone over, not I, couldn't do this without you guys, but we've gone over 500 subscribers. Yes! Which means I need to do probably a contest or something. So I'll try and think of something on my way to work. Regardless, there were comments. I have stuff to talk about. I'm excited. First comment was, I was going from memory, so bear with me if they're a little paraphrased here. But one of the comments, oh no, there's the odds. I have a solution for this. There's a 24 can case on the floor right there. And now there's 22. Okay. So the first comment, this is going to be from the best of my abilities. I don't remember the names. I will have to actually get a pen and paper and start writing these down, as opposed to like printing off hundreds of them. But it was, how are the current projects? What current projects am I working on? And for the most part right now, it is my Ultramarines. Excuse me for a minute while I gain some wings. Yeah, I'm not sponsored. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. Actually, no, I'm serious, I'm not. There we go. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, currently working on my Ultramarines. So it's a lot of blue. There's a ridiculous amount of blue. And the annoying part is I started painting them with the Army Painter blue. They have the Ultramarine blue color, which I was super happy about. But the problem is the can that I was using is almost empty. Now this is after I've painted 30 Marines, a Drop Pod, a Land Raider, a Leviathan, the Primarch, 5 Full Mentaurus Terminators. Yeah, there's been a couple things that I've done. Oh, a Dreadnought. So, yeah, there's been quite a few things that I've been painting, so I'm amazed this can's lasted that long. We had 2 cans. I've never had this happen before with Army Painter, but the one can works perfectly. You know, sprays like a mist, doesn't leave anything, no big deal. But the other can, it was really weird. It would spray and it would look like it's coming out like a regular paint, but whenever it would hit something, it would splatter. So it was never like a fine mist of paint, like primering or airbrushing over top of a bottle. It was like coating it in paint. And I accidentally did that to I used that can on my Leviathan. And I was super worried because when I was watching it dry, it was all over the place. I ended up having to go back over it again with an airbrush and just trying to like clean up a couple of spots there. So I've never had that happen before, and I was super paranoid because it was my Leviathan that I did this to. And I was like, oh crud. So, but I fixed it. The Leviathan looks pretty good. The only problem I'm having right now with my Ultramarines is that I can't find a airbrush color that matches the Army Painter color. So I can't, if at any point in time I do prime something, I can't go back over it and just be like, oh, let me just fix this really quick. Like, you'll have it. It's not quite it's not quite a Macragge blue. It's a little bit lighter than a Macragge blue. So I was like, okay. So whenever I try and fix something and I use the Macragge blue, which is like, you know, your traditional Ultramarine blue, there's like a little shade of difference. I normally can't tell, but like, say for example, if you ever see in a open vault or in any battle reports when I use my Drop Pods, you'll probably notice that there's a little bit of a darker base and it gets lighter at the top. That wasn't me trying to do some shading effect. That was just me fixing a overspray error with the black airbrush by using the Macragge blue, and it's this weird transition, so it throws me off. But oh well. But that's what I'm currently working on right now. Another question that came up was, when will you see the Orc and Goblin army? Probably not for a while. I got a few things on my plate before I actually... weird. My phone was trying to tell me I was getting a message, but... I have a few things on my plate before I actually get to do work on that army. I have my Ultramarines to work on, and there's a lot there. And I'm trying to get them done in time for Valhalla. So that way everybody at Valhalla, when it's going to be like my big... Not really a big unveil, but it's going to be my unveiling of my army, and it's going to be when I start playing it for the first time, will be in Valhalla. So I'm pretty much going to be working on Ultramarines until October. Yeah. So it's going to be that for a while. Then after that, after I've got them fairly well sorted out, I'll jump over to the Orcs and Goblins. I'm not looking forward to painting the Goblins. There's 150 some odd Goblins there. It's gonna be a pain. It is. My car is rattling. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a pain. So, another comment. I remember this one's from Sergeant Safety because I thought it was funny. But the first part was, why didn't I take your advice earlier? Because he knew that that driving and reading was illegal. I don't know. My whole reasoning to it was because I figured it's not like I'm trying to do anything with it. I'm just like picking up a piece of paper. It's no different than reading like a map. But then I found out afterwards that you're not actually supposed to read a map while you drive. You're supposed to have like a navigator do that for you. I was like, oh. Huh. Okay. My bad. So that's why I'm doing it this way. It's a little bit rockier than before, but gets sort of the point across. Sort of. There was an actual question to it, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I was more just like, oh, you're making fun of me because I'm listening to you, and I totally forgot what your question was. It'll come to me. It will come to me. I'm pretty sure yours was the one about Mark III. I'm going to assume yours was the one about Mark III where you said that you started playing War Machine. Awesome. And you're actually looking forward to Mark III and stuff like that. I'm super excited for Mark III. I read a new card yesterday for a new model that Legion's getting. Holy cow, that thing's amazing. It's the Maw and the Tendrils. Oh, it's scary. It doesn't move at all. But the way it works is you get to deploy. You get to deploy the mouth of this monster. Now this doesn't really apply to like the 40k players out there, but it's still a super interesting mechanic, so you guys might actually enjoy this. It's a maw. It's like basically a mouth, and I'm pretty sure it's 2 or 3 tendrils that go with it. And what happens is you can deploy it 12 inches outside of your deployment zone. So say for example you have a 10-inch deployment, you can deploy this 22 inches up the table. That's pretty sweet. Once they're deployed, they don't move. They have a 2-inch reach, and these tendrils, the way they work is if they hit something, they don't damage it, but they immediately disappear and pull towards the maw itself. Now, if the maw hits you, you're just removed from play. You're just dead. I was like, what? Let me read this again. And yeah, if it hits, there's no crits consumed, nothing like that. It's just if it hits you, and you are a small base model, you're dead. The only reason that you wouldn't be dead is if you were a Warcaster or a Warlock. Otherwise, yeah, you're dead. It's like, oh, that's so gross. Legion just became so good. Well, not necessarily, but their board control just became so good. I was jealous. I'm still jealous. I want it. I want those. They're so cool. So, But yeah, I'm excited for Mark III. June 12th, if you have a smartphone, basically, if it's an Android or iOS, you can pre-download War Room 2. And once June 12th kicks in, you can actually purchase the cards and the rules and all that stuff. But in Canada, figures, we don't actually get the starter boxes and the rules until the 29th of June. But here's the nice thing. For you guys, I am going to be driving super, super late at night and staying up super, super late to get my hands on all these boxes a day early and record all the stuff I could possibly think of about them. So open boxes, tactics, reading through the rules, trying to do a how to play, all that fun stuff, so you guys get everything right away. I am going to do the best I can so that Mini Wargamer I had a speech all prepped and now I messed it up. So Mini Wargaming can be the place people go if they want to watch some War Machine stuff. It's still going to be all that 40K. That's not going anywhere. But I want people to actually be like, oh, Mini Wargaming, yeah, I checked them out for War Machine stuff. Because I think we can do it. And I'm not sure if it'll work. I'm going to throw everything I can at it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully this works. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now with Mark III. I've read through a lot of the rumors and the confirmations and stuff like that. I'm super excited for those. Back in my head, I'm thinking Privateer Press is starting to do a little bit of what Games Workshop did and go a little bit less competitive, a little bit more friendly, and try and open it up to a wider market while staying still somewhat true to their competitive nature. So it's still going to have all the crazy, finicky rules and stuff like that, but pre-measuring being introduced to it is huge. So, there's another thing. I've never really thought of it until I noticed, like, for example, I was playing we were doing the finale for A Tale of Two Casters yesterday. And I never noticed it until, like, we were doing a little bit of it the other day, where when you can't pre-measure something, it just absolutely changes your game when you're allowed to actually, like, measure stuff ahead of time. Because it got to, Josh was messing with me a little bit with it, but he was just like, what's the distance between these two models? I'm like, 13 and a half. He's like, no, it's not. Let me, can I check? I was like, yeah, go for it. It's 13 and a half. He'd measure. He's like, you're a witch. It's 13 and a half. How do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. So, but it was really weird because he would actually he wouldn't do something until he knew he'd be allowed to do it, whereas in War Machine, one of the biggest things is that you'll do something under the hopes that you'll be able to make that range. So for example, say you have a 10-inch range, you'll look at it and be like, I think that's within 10 inches. You'll check your control and try and see if there's any way you can angle it to confirm that you'll be within the 10-inch range. But at the end of the day, you don't know if you're within 10 inches or not unless you've been able to take a tape measure over your model and over the target model. And it comes down to that a lot, where people are just like, well, I'm going to shoot you, and I'm half an inch out of range. I'm a millimeter out of range. I'm just like a hair out of range. And it just, that's going to make a huge difference in the game, where that's not going to happen anymore. I can't even name the number of times I've had that happen, where it's just like, I'm going to try and take a shot here. I'm a fraction of an inch short or out of range. It's just, it's annoying. But, oh well. I'm excited for it. I'm trying to remember what the other comments were. There was another comment, and it was, if I had to go with a very fast army, not Eldar, that could go on ground, what would I pick? Obviously you knew my auto answer would be Eldar, because that's what you said that's what you're excluding from this list. Dark Eldar, no, I'm just kidding. I'm assuming you mean like all Eldar, like as a group, so no Eldar, Dark Eldar, or Harlequins. And if that's the case, Tal might actually be one of your fastest ground ones, because they have the jump pack, or they have the battle suits that can do the jump move, so they're pretty quick. They've also got some pretty fast transports. Necrons are super fast. They have open top skimmers. Ugh. The capacity 10. But once they're on foot, they are slow. Super slow. Probably. Excuse me. Going a Chaos Demon or Khorne Demonkin Beast Heavy army would do it, because that would mean that everything has speed 12 or movement 12. They can go 12 inches, and they're also not hindered by difficult and dangerous, difficult terrain. So they just ignore it. They all have go through cover. But they're not hindered as much anyway. Yeah, I don't know which one I would pick. If I had to pick one, I would probably take the Chaos Demon one, just because I have a weird affiliation with, like, love-hate relationship with Chaos Demons. For the longest time, I always wanted a Chaos Demon army. So, went on eBay. This is going years and years and years ago. But went on eBay, found somebody who was selling like a couple, I think it was like 2 starter boxes for a Chaos Demon. So it was like you get one of each, like one group from all 4 gods. So it was like Bloodletters, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and then the Tzeentch, and then it was different things for all of that. So I got that, and then I ended up paying full retail for building up my entire army, which ended up consisting of like 2 Soul Grinders, a Defiler, at least 30 Bloodletters, at least, about 20 Nurglings, no Pink Horrors. Couldn't find any Pink Horrors at the time. I don't know why. I had a ton of Seekers, bunch of Flames. Oh yeah, it wasn't a big army, but it was expensive when you looked at it, because it was all bought at retail, and it was just, this was a time when a lot of it was pewter, not the plastic. So it was a big, heavy army. So I had it all. It was all unpainted. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna paint this. And I sat down with my very first Bloodletter, and I primed it black, and I started painting the red, and he was done after about 5 hours of painting one Bloodletter, because I was dumb and didn't know much about dry brushing or inking or washes or anything like that. So I did everything by hand and by one solid base paint color. So A, it looked like crap. I thought it looked like a masterpiece, but it was terrible. So after having that army for about 8 months, never winning a game, because it was back when they had the old rule where you had to take your army, cut it in half, and the entire thing arrived via deep strike. So I was like, okay, that's a cool mechanic. Turns out it's terrible. And on top of that, this was back when deep striking mishapped on pretty much anything. Oh, you deep struck into a bush, there's a mishap table. Like, it was bad. So you literally needed to land on open ground or take a mishap. It sucked. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I sold the army. Fast forward ahead 2 years, and Chaos Demons, ooh, they have a couple new things. They're getting a couple new pieces. I feel like I should try Chaos Demons again. I don't think I gave them a good enough try. Plus, I just got beat by Chaos Demons with my Grey Knights, or with my Necrons at the time. My Necrons got absolutely stomped by Chaos Demons. So I built up another army. This one was bigger than the last one. It was about 50 Bloodletters, about 30. It was all infantry, so it was just an infantry spam of guys. And then a couple weird things here and there. So I got all that stuff. And I started to paint it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this one my Golden Demon army. I thought it was funny. So I painted on my blood. I painted everything different shades of gold and metal colors. So like the Bloodletters were gold. Nurgle was like oxidated brass. Slaanesh was silver, and then my here we go. And then Tzeentch was copper. Probably thinking, why copper? Well, copper was one of the things that I could possibly think of at the time that was like a commonly used metal in fantasy lore that conducted electricity, and as a result was like my whole, ooh, it's magic. So that's why I did that. Anyway, that's pretty much all I could do at the time, and finally I was like, you know what, I can't. I tried playing one list with it. I brought the exact same list that the guy beat my my Necrons with, and I got stomped. I was like, huh, okay, this doesn't work. I'm selling this army. And now I've gone full circle, and I'm back to this point again where I kind of want to build Chaos Demons again. Ugh. So we have a ton of them in the studio, so I can just play them whenever, so I'm not that worried about it. But anyway, that's all the questions that I have time for today. Is semi-answered. There's just in the background. There he goes, right there. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, leave a comment below if you have a question or comment you'd like me to read or answer or whatever, and I'll try to figure out some sort of a fancier way to do it, because trying to do it from memory, I feel like I'm robbing you guys of your fame. I'm not. The only person I remember is Sergeant Safety. So, I will try and figure out something else for that. Also, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done that already. We've hit 500 subscribers, so I will try and figure out something. Some sort of a prize. I'll come up with something. It will probably get posted on the Facebook page, and I'll talk about it on Monday. But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments. I'll read them and answer them on Monday. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and happy wargaming.